We're joined now by Limerick District League Secretary Turlough McNamara. Turlough, obviously we're here in a sunbaked Jackman Park previewing the season. We're just a week out from the start of the Premier, but Tuesday is the start of the Limerick District League season. It's fair to say excitement is building, and I know you're in the position now. Are you happy to be back in the committee and re-elected?
Well, I mean, like, I was there 3 or 4 years ago when Paul stepped away. I stepped in. Let's go break then. Jeff stepped in. But I mean, the secretary's job is all you do is email clubs and keep the club. If we decide A, B, and C up there of Tuesday night, all the clubs that we want to fight. Like, I mean, whether it's, basically I'm the messenger. Like, we've got our chairman, our secretary, our treasurer, and we've had all our people. If the chairman was some message related, or the treasurer was something related, or the register, it's a general email goes to all the clubs. It's an easy job, but then again, right, I think we've 49 clubs and over 108, 110 teams. I mean, we're probably one of the biggest leagues in the country, right? And it's something, it's 24/7. You have to be in the ball. Clubs are emailing you X, Y, and Z. I mean, everything comes towards me. My job is to pass it on to whoever fixer, secretary, treasurer, or whichever powers to be up to wanted. And just once you got the right communications from me to the clubs, obviously the FEI come to me, Monsieur comes to me. Any queries, I pass them on to people. That's their job, and my job is just to pass on the message.
Yeah, absolutely. I was speaking to your chairman, George Smith, earlier on, who mentioned that even though everyone says the league starts in August, obviously the undertakings to organise the league start for you much earlier in the season. Particularly, I know that myself from the communication. Obviously, the one thing the committee will probably want to strive for is open communication, and that's something that you will be central to as well.
Yeah, well, I have a great knowledge. Probably anyone knows me would know I'm very much into PR side. Even when we're here on my own club, right? And we'll just start back in June, and we sat down here. We wrote to all the clubs. We asked all the clubs to forward all their details, chairman, secretaries, the amount of teams we're putting in. I got all those. We sat down then and we compiled the leagues. I think when all leagues are compiled, they're given out. So I mean, even though the season starts on next Tuesday, I mean, there's been work behind the scenes for the last 8 weeks. We were here last night, and we thought, not in order out, still 2 hours here last night.
Yeah.
2 hours last night from 7 o'clock until 10 o'clock, because we to redo the other 17 leagues, and there was a lot of bits and pieces that people don't see. And I go home then after that, right, I will spend another hour, or an hour and a half, or today's an hour and a half, seeing out details the clubs.
Yeah, and I know as well that, things have moved on now, Turlough, in terms of, as you said, fixtures now, rather than going through the paper, everyone's looking for them on the Sunday night. Obviously, Pat Sheehan does that work for yourself. You'll be hoping that goes smoothly again for the season.
Oh yes, I mean, that if you take Pat Sheehan, Michael Regan, in fairness, there a couple of weeks ago, compiled all the fixtures, and even it was Pat Sheehan, Sport Limerick, 1195 FM, and all the clubs all got the fixtures from Premier League down to 3B, also including underrated football. So everything went out to everybody on the same night. And next thing last weekend, Pat got official first 2 weeks of fixtures times and fixtures dates from Michael Regan, and that was on Pat's website. Even Sport Limerick came up as well last week. So I mean, it's ongoing. I mean, basically, whether people have a club football in here, I mean, whether you're an officer here or committee member, some of the work here now, it's gone 24/7. It's practically a full-time job.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, as I said earlier, there's a lot of fans of the new league format, Turlough. The top 6, bottom 6 split. I know that I'm a fan of it myself in terms of the interest that's been in it from top and bottom clubs, and there was a great response to it last year. Are you happy to see that remain this year?
Well, probably one last year, probably part my league hat for a moment. My own club, Turlough, last year, we were very much part of it, right? Everybody knows we struggled. Struggle was probably being put in mildly. But I mean, we were probably better off last year finishing in the bottom half of the league, because I think as just said earlier, I mean, if we had made the top 6, if the whole league had been the over, and the top 6 teams, top 5 teams, they'd be playing us, it would have been absolutely crazy. That aside, I think there was 3 teams. There was we rode Pike of Fairview, and Bala were practically on the coattails. A small kick of a ball, could have been through a playoff. We tossed the coin. The game went to the fair green. What a game, what a crowd. I mean, it was the first time in 3 years that the top 6 had worked its way out, and we take the bottom 6. Same thing. I know Gilbert finished top, and even from a good bit out, I mean, I think Gilbert were always in the holy up the bottom of the pile, and Kilmallock were too far behind us. So I mean, I think that And look at this year, I mean, like, could I pick your top 6 at the moment? Probably yes, right? You know, it's you still look at the Pike, Fairview, Ashings and Ballard, right? You know, and they're probably everyone's pick. Like, you know, it's all going to be, you know, and we take when the season starts on Thursday night, is that week. Most Premier League clubs were going to play a minimum of 8 matches. At the end of the 8 matches, there'll be a fair barometer as to who's where.
Absolutely, and there's a huge challenge for the league as well, and obviously the Referees Association, Turlough, in that, you know, there has been some experienced refs, the likes of Robbie Rowe, Donald Power, that have stepped out of the breach. The season is unforgiving in the first few weeks, and that you're trying to make the most of the evening games, the weather, the whole lot, trying to, you know, because often you have a glut in the Christmas period. So is that a challenge for the league in terms of, you know, trying to, you know, source the games in a way that's fair to both the referees and the players?
Well, the biggest question here is, with 20 teams, we've a very lack of referees. I mean, like, you know, we're grand at the moment, we can play 7 days a week for the next 2 weeks. The school football kicks in, and we'll keep going club with the 8 games. After that, then we'll go back to Sundays. The problem will occur for Michael Regan, you know, a fixed secretary, come Sundays. Like, we know your Premier League and top 3 or 4 leagues will play practically every Sunday. I mean, teams in lower leagues, they might kick a ball for a month. That's because of lack of referees. And that's one thing I would appeal to anybody listening to this evening. The league and the referees are crying out for extra referees. Anybody's available, any club that has a person involved. Now, it's a tough job, you know, and it's, like I keep saying, if we have got referees, we won't have games.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a sore point, so I didn't want to bring it up, but you brought it up. Obviously, Geraldines, you went out of the Premier last year, got relegated, back in Premier A. Historically, Geraldines haven't stayed in Premier A very long and have always bounced back. I mean, is that the aim for your new manager, Gary Kelly, and the squad he's assembled for the new year?
Well, I think the last time we came up was 2011, right? Paul O'Donnell came in as manager, right? The first year wasn't great. After that, then we all know what happened, right? While the Munster Junior, 13-14.
I think you're forgetting 2017, I think, as well.
Yeah, sorry. But Paul came in, and, like, you know, it was, he steadied the ship, and Paul left. Next thing you know, like, I must say one thing, Derek Hannon was there for the last 3 years, right? And, like, the no words of mine can thank Derek Hannon. I know nobody knows last year what Derek went through. I mean, like, Derek came Saturday night, 16 players available, Sunday morning, 9 players available. How Derek fulfilled as manager jealous last year was just unbelievable. It was an unbelievable work he put into it. That aside, Gary Kelly's come in. I was watching it around tournament last week, but I think he had 18 players there. There was 2 from last year's squad left. Gary Kelly has brought in a brand new squad of journalists. You know, probably a new face, you know, a new face come in. And hopefully Gary's come in. Gary's come with experience. I mean, he's up in Germany, but he's back in Luckervilla. Himself and Grant Dave come in. And, you know, they've sort of brought something, they've brought it the other. I mean, like, you know, the secretary journalists and officer journalists, you know, like myself, Jeff Conley and Joe, at this point we're always stand back because, I mean, like, you know, there's hostels for courses. So Gary Kelly's come in. We, like previous managers, was just Paul or Gary Cannon or anybody, like the other team managers, the other team the other. So from my own point of view, we'd be hoping, the biggest thing that I do want to show for journalists is that it's something we always last year, it was hard for winning games. I think, you know, last year we finished at 1 point. It was heartbreaking for everyone, all the members of my journalist football club. We finished at 1 point. That wasn't Derek Cannon's fault to me. Like, Derek, just, you know, the players just didn't perform, and we got hockey left, right, and centre. But from both sides, from a league side and a journalist point of view, the credit to Journalist Football Club, and I'll say this with hand in heart, that we completed all our games. When Limerick beat us in our last game of 11, we knew we were in trouble. Our first game in the bottom 6 was home to Mungret. We lost that. And one didn't have to be a brain surgeon to work out. The 2 and 2 was 4. We knew once we lost to Mungret, we were swinging from a rope, and we kept it going, and hopefully, I mean, we brought in Gary, and hopefully Gary will get journalists back. You know, probably from a personal point of view, Gary will probably want to win the league or get up his first season. But from a club point of view, our biggest thing is to get in the Premier League, get steady shape, and get journalists back to what it was.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose to finish on a bit of a brighter note, we were just discussing before we came on live here that, you know, last year you had a great end to the season. You know, you had a great attendance at the league final, and also here in the last game and the Lawson Cup. That's the type of crowd you'd like to see on a regular basis, which obviously is the hope with the league format, with crowds turning out on a regular basis supporting the local players.
Yeah, there's policies for a number of years where all playoffs, where there's a 3B player for a youth player for Premier League player, it's toss for coin, and Fairview were lucky to win the toss of coin outside night after a school meeting, and it was a big crowd. There was a big crowd in Fair Green, right? But I think that our treasurer will be extremely happy with the crowd here on Thursday night. I think there's one message went out after the last final, was right? Last final, I know there's Mike Regan's call, whatever, but I think a Friday night job for the last final is the pinnacle of the season. It's the last game of the season, and like, you know, that Thursday night here, there was a massive crowd, and you know, coupled with the playoff, I mean, it proves that good teams